Thanks, Kevin. And my name is Fdot, joined here by Kevin.
Big fan of that guy.
That makes one of us. We've had an exciting afternoon for North America so far, and we're going to continue with one of the more, honestly, one of the matches that I've been exceptionally excited for.
Contrary to the front of our desk, we're going to be seeing Envy take on SoaR. EnVyUs, one of the top teams in North America, all of last year, coming in with a lot of roster changes and moves. Most notably, Mask not playing for Week 1 was actually under the Denial banner, and now has since switched over to Envy. Obviously, having that offer on the table, nothing he could pass up.
SoaR will be playing their first game of the season. Their bye week came in week number 1, so we haven't really been able to see this team just yet, but the roster is something that a lot of people are very excited about. You've got Metyankey on there, which is a player that a lot of people associate with being on one of the worst teams around, Elevate, but the rumor has it, and a lot of what the pros have been talking about, is that Metyankey could be one of the best hunters in the entire world. So that's what we're going to see.
Baskin also leaving the world-class team Luminosity Gaming to join up with this crew. Obviously, a lot of friends he has on this team, but also he has to respect their skill if he's willing to drop and leave that kind of organization and prestigious culture. Picks and bans going to be underway. SoaR Gaming is going to be on the Chaos side. They'll have the last counter pick as well as the first set of counter picks as well. Khepri, Kali, banned out. No surprise there.
Yeah, get used to seeing this Kali ban, as Giannis is also taken off the table. Kali has historically been a ban that comes out against certain people or against certain teams. And these days, Kevin, I think Kali is a god you have to have in your arsenal if you're a jungler. And welcome to Season 3.
Coming into Season 3, there were a lot of new items introduced, most notably Stone Cutting Sword, as well as the Relic system. The big thing about the Relic system is this is allowing Kali to get Blink and the Purification online at no cost to them. And as well, the fact that there are now 1,800 less gold worth of actives for players to invest in. We're seeing these late game builds much earlier, and the strongest late game carry Smite has ever seen, it's Kali.
Yeah, I mean, and we saw last game what happens when a late game god like Kronos gets his feet underneath
him. A little bit surprising to me. Athena is going to be first picked. And this is something I think a little bit of a bait. Athena working very well against Isis specifically, and SoaR has valued Isis as the best pick in the mid lane for the past 2 months. So clearly a counter they want to go with, but Metyankey now on, honestly, what I consider his most notable god in Hou Yi.
And Hou Yi also goes to note, we were talking about Metyankey before, players have noted has his mechanical prowess, and Hou Yi is a god that obviously gives you a lot of benefits to your mechanical prowess. If you're able to hit those ricochets,
kind of like Ram.
Exactly, you're able to really run the lane.
We're gonna see Thor and Bellona locked in for EnVyUs. So EnVyUs already starting off with double globals coming out from Thor and Athena. A lot of gank potential from them. Bellona also a soul laner that is almost guaranteed to control the lane. Very few gods that can really match her presence. Osiris is really the only warrior that we see consistently dominate lanes, such as Bellona does. And we've really seen just today how much other players struggle when they match up against a Bellona. In both the first set, whoever got the Bellona, whether it was Scary D or it was Marauder, they won the lane. And then in that second set, you saw Matty Pocket have to go against it and not really be able to compete early on.
And I like that you brought up Scary D and Marauder, Kevin, because I think this is an interesting parallel there as we get into our second round of bans and Zeus is taken away.
Okay, I understand what you're going with.
So Marauder and Scary D, they're both relatively new to the league. They're both sort of on the same level. Whereas you take a look at Omega and Baskin, they are established. These are some of the highest skilled players in their position. And so just like the last matchup, there's a lot of mutual respect and mutual camaraderie here in these two players.
Just like I was saying, Osiris, one of the few gods that can match up against a Bellona. We're going to see Envy ban it away. Really want to make sure that Omega has a good matchup against Baskin. You know, Ammonster, one of the player I consider the best player in North America, actually came out and said that Baskin is the best player in North America, and maybe one of the reasons that Luminosity has struggled so early, having lost such a valuable member, and making sure Omega can have this lane-dominant matchup and allow him to transition to the mid-game ahead is going to be very important for Envy.
And that's another reason why we're seeing the Vamana ban. EnVyUs has just put a target in the second round onto the solo lane.
I like this.
I like this as well. With that in mind, Baskin does have a creative god pool. He's not quite CycloneSpin, but he
Ooh.
can bring things out that no one has any idea of.
So Season 2 of Awilix, we saw a little bit of it, right? I think the best person or the best team that ever used it was London Conspiracy when the god was one of the first times she was kind of released out into the wild. We saw a lot of rotational powers with like 4-man blinks, and what this character does, you know, you have the knock-up, you could pull him out of position. It's very good, not only early game, because Feather Step scales very hard, but also because you can just pull people out of position, and it's a strategy that not a lot of teams develop a composition around, and I think SoaR are developing it around. You can already see they have the Isis in the mid lane for pressure. Hou Yi Geb, not going to have a lot of pressure, but the important thing here is the Geb, the knockup. Not only is it going to cancel out Bellona's bludgeon, also really disrupts Athena when she dashes in and tries to taunt, but you're also going to be able to find some really massive picks because of the pressure Isis is going to put out, and I do expect Isis, Geb, and Awilix to have the early advantage, or at the very least looking for the early advantage.
Yeah, Awilix is powerful early on as well as late game. As you said, her scaling is very high, which allows her to do things later on. But the invulnerability helps a lot early on. We saw last week in Luminosity's collapse against Enemy, the biggest reason that their invade failed was because Featherstep immune to the huge damage from Death Scythe. So small plays like that can wind up into big situations, and Awilix is definitely, I say this almost every time she's picked, Kevin, she's one of the most underutilized characters at the highest level here in the SPL. I get very excited every time I see her.
The problem, I understand that, but the problem is kind of the risk with Awilix.
Sure.
I do think she's underutilized. I don't think a lot of teams have been using her to the best of her abilities, but she's one of these characters where if she gets behind early, she is an assassin that has to stick close to you, and she doesn't have a lot of options to get away, especially if Suku is down. So it's a little bit risky. Taking a look, though, Homiefe will be going into Power Potion. Can we highlight Mast real quick? I want to see if he bought a Power Potion. I'm almost guaranteeing he did. No, actually.
Nope.
Thor submitting to the early game. Obviously, with an Awilix Isis, just the power of those two gods, you cannot fight them. And speaking of, let me highlight Hurriwind real quick, see if he bought a Power Potion. Isis. So no Power Potion on Hurriwind
Not quite.
as well. I'm a little bit surprised on that one.
Yeah, the Isis, Purple Pot Isis has been
Devastating.
That's a good word for it. Devastating.
God, it's so powerful. There's no other mage that uses Purple Pot as effectively as Isis.
I mean, you look at gods that have similar push, like Ra, Poseidon, or Anubis, and the Purple Pot just, it works out well on Isis, and she's relatively safe in comparison to those other gods.
And she's got a stun, she's got a ton of burst, she just has so much setup in early presence.
Level 2.
Speaking of early presence, Mast, half his life as he walks into lane, can't even clear the wave, and this is the power of Isis, especially when paired with another early game god such as Awilix. You're going to see SoaR take a trip to the left-hand Harpies, not find anything though.
So we're going to clear out this mid lane as well without visiting their camps. Both back camps have been taken in the beginning of the game, so SoaR doesn't have any back camps to go to like EnVyUs does. And because of that, they'll be able to push this wave very quickly, and then look where they're going, right into the enemy jungle to take away EnVy's back camps as well.
So I like this decision from both teams. First of all, we didn't really talk about it early on. Ooh, look at this. MLC Stealth looking for a stun, finds it, and a root, but he's on a really bad spot. Mass going to try and force the team off. With that Berserker's Barrage and a nice double tap, and that honestly looked like a win for SoaR at first, but Envy managing to find the lead and damage.
The audacity of SoaR to walk through that. Like that was just so aggressive. This is the most unsafe. There were about 3 different options to get to mid camp or to get to mid lane, and SoaR made the conscious effort to go the most dangerous way.
They want to fight you. I mean, they're red pot Awilix and Isis with a red buff. Excuse me. Left-hand side, you can see top of the damage charts are both hunters. So Metyankey and CycloneSpin. So here's one thing I want to talk about, because CycloneSpin, very young player, I believe he's 15, very cocky, right?
Sure.
He wants to tell you and prove that he's the best. And you almost never see hunters with this much damage early on. I think Met's here as well to prove himself. I think this is a very statement-making game, right? CycloneSpin comes in, he faces off against Zatman, one of those iconic hunters in his first game of the SPL, and he gets a pentakill. right? Metyankey, this is his first showing, and now he's facing off against that same CycloneSpin, considered the best player in the world back when he was a solo laner in the summer split last year.
And one of the things that I like about CycloneSpin transitioning over to this hunter position is that his identity is still there. He played Kali in the game that he got pentakill, and now he's playing Medusa. When there were plenty of other top-tier hunters available for him to choose, he chooses the god that he wishes to play, and I like that.
I mean, to be fair, Athena, Medusa, we didn't really mention
course,
it. A very good combination. Obviously, players without their purification are going to be forced to look at a Petrify. Guaranteed stun if the mechanics are right and the team executes it properly.
I mean, that's as classic as Odin and Zeus, right?
That's
It's
the throwback. It's the new throwback.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
I guess you can't really call it a throwback if it's recent.
I mean, we say recent, but Medusa's been out for a while now, Kev.
She was out last year, middle of last year, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a long time. She's been here for at least a year, I think.
Supports have now started to group up here. You see this all the time. The 3v3 fight, and now I think EnVy going to be able to keep a little more presence. That early game Isis power spike has subsided for the most part. Once she hits level 6, 7, other mages kind of match her clear.
April 1st of last year,
so
it's been pretty much
less than a year. No, less than a year. Can't say throwback until it's a year old.
No, because we had a leap day this year, which means it was 365 days ago. It's been exactly a year since Medusa was introduced.
We don't calculate it by days.
Yes, we do.
Because of leap years. We calculate it by the exact date to date.
I don't know about
for
that.
a year.
I
mean, unless it's like February 20. I'm not getting into this. 0-0, no kills on the board just yet. Red buffs have respawned, and you can see the mids looking to pick those up.
Yeah, this is a very I don't want to say carefully paced game. I don't want to say slow because when these types of things happen, powder can explode. A powder keg can explode at any moment. But take a look at the mid builds right here. 2 helmets on both of our mid laners.
This is now guaranteed meta, right?
Yep.
The first week we saw some of the safer mids. Or the less safe mids start to pick this up. A very stat-efficient item, obviously. 1,700 gold. You're getting 45 magical power, I believe, and 30 protections. Yeah, and then 15 penetration.
That's what I like.
Combine that with the Shoes of the Magi, 15 protections on top of that. It's almost, or excuse me, 10 protections on top of that. It's almost true damage against anyone that has not brought any magical defenses yet.
When you see it this early, though,
Omega.
that's very curious to me. Omega's very low.
Not scared,
dance
though.
Around with Baskin. Standard play coming out from Omega. Getting taunted at by the young solo laner.
Omega getting kind of it thrown back in his face.
So going back to this mid lane build, you kind of disallow yourself to go do more at this point. Because next has to be boots. You can't withhold that movement speed.
It's a stronger immediate power spike. Obviously, once you get Doom Orb 50 stacks, it's 140 power. It doesn't match. But honestly, for 300 gold less, you're also getting protections. You're getting raw pin, right? It's still better to get Doom Orb if you're looking for pure damage, but this just gives you so many more options. And at 6 minutes, you already have penetration online, and once you go Shoes of the Magi, 11 minutes, you're going to have just kind of this devastating power spike that anyone who is not a tank with magical defense is going to get burned on.
Very true, and I particularly
Blink.
like it on the Isis.
Oh.
Blink forward, and there's a combo out
Bye-bye,
of Awilix, and Kiki's in a lot of trouble. Down comes Thor to save the life of his support. What a great play coming out from the jungler.
Wrong side of the wall. Hurriwind, but it doesn't look like EnVy. Actually, EnVy could be looking to fight. You could see both hunters had rotated. CycloneSpin going to chase Metyankey off the mid camps. There comes Athena back into the action. Not really looking to force the fight, just making sure that he can get back and start farming efficiently. Make sure if a fight does break out, that Athena's there. And look at this. Homiefe going to ward up or notice the ward place and back off. I really like that combination that we saw coming out from SoaR Gaming. Obviously, the blink in, the knock-up, and immediately going for that support who does not have purifications on Kiki, pulling him out of position, but they don't have the burst, and masked, honestly, with a perfect ult, landing down, stunning 2 players, and allowing Kiki to get out there, although Kiki, honestly, still had to rely on himself to juke out that spear ball in the end.
Of course, but Mask made a huge impact there already in his first game on EnVy. And key point that I want to bring up, Kevin, is the delay on Thor ult. So it takes a couple of seconds to wind up, and then once you're up in the air, it does take a second or two to come down. So Mask had the foresight to see what was going on. Now, did he picture the blink in, knock up Awilix? Probably not, but he saw something develop.
What I'm assuming happened is the blink happened, and then the call was he blinked, and then he immediately ulted. Mask, fresh off his year-long competitive ban, had a really good showing in week 1 against Denial, and this is a guy that we've touted as being one of the best junglers, but we haven't seen him actually play at the highest level against one of the best teams in the world yet. He faced off against Randozos, who are clearly struggling. They're 0-4 to start off the season, and now he's going against SoaR. Now, while SoaR doesn't really have kind of the experience as well, they haven't proven themselves, they're definitely a team that we're highly touting to potentially make it to DreamHack by the end of the spring split.
This time around, Mask wants to get offensive, lands right on Hurriwind, and Kiki follows up with a taunt, but no damage ultimately coming.
Look at the mechanics on both of these teams. Everything was perfectly timed. Mask lands down, Jigz immediately reacts with the Geb shield. No beads burned until Mask then follows up with the stun, and then immediately beads once again. It's just the mechanical skill on both these teams, but no first blood 8 minutes in.
Exactly, and that's why I chose my words carefully so many minutes ago, Kevin, when I said it's not a slow-paced game. It's a carefully paced game.
It's a potential powder keg. Jigz, though.
Another knock-up.
Stealth's in trouble.
Purification has been used, but it doesn't immune damage. Hurriwind starts things off by finally finding that first blood a couple of seconds before minute 9. SoaR makes a statement in their first game with their first blood.
Really clean play coming out from SoaR there. You saw all 3 members group up on the left-hand side. You could see the sentry ward right below those left side mid-harpies. The reasoning that they went and they knew that they could force the gank. They knew there was no wards there. The second stealth comes around the corner. They immediately blow him up. In this small of a quarter, they can't fight. And now a Gold Fury. They're going to attempt it. Kiki, he's on half-life. Actually, in the middle of it, SoaR do secure the Gold Fury as well as Kiki. Homiefe looking out, plays CycloneSpin, but Cyclone's going to find the hit. Metyankey, double tap, doesn't connect, comes right back down, double for Met.
Absolutely zero surprise there. Metyankey trades his life out for Masked. Ultimately, it's a 2-4-2. Omega takes a spill as well, so it's a 2-for-3. Plus the Gold Fury. SoaR come up on top of that one.
SoaR looking real good. Baskin, he's rotated in. Masked, no ultimate. His hammer down. There's the blink. That Berserker's Barrage coming out from Masked, meaning he cannot be knocked up to counter the Fearless. Now Baskin fighting 2, going to heal up and back off, but just the mechanical skill.
I was just going to go there, Kevin. I mean, the mechanical skill of these teams, and as far as their decision-making, I mean, teams have been doing fine, but like you said, this is a clinic. Watch both of these teams, and they're showing you what to do. It's a lot of fun. Right. But break down that Gold Fury for me, because that was very sudden that it came out of SoaR.
I mean, they just have a very good Gold Fury, or excuse me, objective-based composition with the Isis. They got the pick onto stealth. They waited until they saw Envy kind of in their lanes, meaning they weren't in position. Quick group up, no one wasting any time. They dropped both of their big AoE ultimates. Isis obviously able to secure it with a big bomb, or with the big circle protection explosion.
Yeah, 2 big circle ultimates, and right there, I said it during the play-by-play. Metyankey, no surprise that he decided to jump right down into 2 and go for the kill. That's what you have to come to expect from this player.
It's not even just Met, right? And maybe he'll like calm it down later on, but Metyankey and CycloneSpin, we talked about it earlier. They're both very, I said cocky, but maybe proud's the better word. Both of them want to prove themselves. CycloneSpin was the best player in the summer split last year. Now, obviously, adapting over in Europe kind of took over that title in the fall split when they went on their 27-1 run and ended up winning SWC, but CycloneSpin still very effective. He had to switch his God pool for the fall split because of the meta change. Now he's back in a hard carry role in this Hunter position, and he's allowed a lot more freedom to make the big plays. And I expect CycloneSpin to be going at it, and I expect Met too, trying to prove himself.
Switching over to solo lane, that play we just saw out of Omega, that is so quintessentially Omega. That proxy farm is such an Omega play. I mean, I don't exactly want to call proxy farming a wave. I don't want to name it after a player, but you see Omega do this absolutely all the time. Just walk right past his opponent, right through his opponent's tower, and clear the wave past the tier 1. What that allows him to do, it just gives his minions a little bit more push, a little bit more pressure, but really it allows him to wander the jungle a little bit more.
SoaR 4-2 in kills right now, 12 minutes in. Also have secured the first Gold Fury. You can see a 1,200 gold lead off of that, 1,000 experience, all pretty negligible for the most part until we see power spike items. Both junglers have their boots and Jotuns finished. You can see the first set of backs really for these frontline solo laners. Baskin going into Breastplate of Valor and then into, is that the, what is that item? I can't even think of it off the top of my head. Anyways, left-hand side, you actually see, is that Fatalis?
An Omega?
Omega? No, that's tier 2 wing
No,
blade.
that's Adventure.
I'm losing it right now. Oh my word, I am not all here right now. Picks up the meditation as well, though.
You know what, to be fair, I think I threw Kevin a little off his game. I made a crazy face. Level 15 on the tier already. We're not even at minute 13. So Baskin definitely knows what he's doing.
That's
in the
just all
farm
solo
world.
laners right now, season 3.
It's not Omega. He just hit 14. CycloneSpin uses the Sanctuary to immune out the damage from Hou Yi. Hou Yi's going to get some help. And so is Medusa. Kiki shows up, but ultimately no kill. And yeah, going back to what you were talking about, these two hunters, Kevin, every time we look at them, they're fighting, they're low, they're in it. These players, they want to box.
Metyankey, though, I guarantee you Met would have dropped down onto that fight if the Athena ult didn't come in, but thought better of it once he saw that. Kiki going to be dashing, looking for Hurriwind, finds the Thom, rotation in from Mast and MLC Stealth, but it's on full retreat. As Baskin chasing them out of their own jungle, he's going to be able to successfully steal away the blue buff with the rest of his team. But on the top side, Omega also going to have that counter jungle. He's currently 2 levels down. Teleport coming into the mid lane.
It's just a trade. One solo laner, the two solo laners take the opposing solo laner's blue.
And honestly, that was a good play from Baskin, but he'll quickly realize that Omega had a nice counterplay by trading that out.
Ultimately a win for Omega. Omega gets the buff camp by himself. Baskin splits it with everyone this side of the Mississippi. So more experience and gold going the way of the EnVy solo laner in that exchange.
Gold tier going to be spawning here, and just
Again?
about right this second here. Omega going to be proxy farming. His teleport is up, same with both solo laners. Mast actually electing to go into the teleport relic. You saw that in the mid lane. You see this a lot. Originally started by Anister. This just allows a god with a lot of global presence to have even more global presence. You'll see him basically enter a fight, and because Thor has so much mobility and typically builds into kind of this front line with tanky items heading into the 4th and 5th slot, he'll be able to do a lot of damage into the team fight, escape, then teleport back into a tower or ward and make a secondary impact on the fight.
Thor's also a character similar to Thor's also a character that just doesn't need that second active or that second relic.
Because typically you're going a Sanctuary or a Blink, but he already has 2 gap closers, and as well as, like I said, he builds tanky.
You know, you could build a shell to help out the team a little bit later on, but like you mentioned, the teleport just allows you to be omnipresent, and as a jungler, it's exactly what you want. SoaR.
For me, actually, 2 meditations picked up by EnVy, both on Kiki and on Omega. SoaR, like you said, going to be starting that gold for Omega has rotated in. He's going to look and intercept Jigz, trying to roll out. Oh, cheeky play from Homiefe, trying to catch someone over that wall and pluck him out of position.
I love the influence over here. Hold that thought. Jigz is going to blink right on in. Stun out 2. Meanwhile, Mask gets pulled on the right-hand side. Taken out by Homiefe and the solo laner. On the middle of the fight, up goes the mid laner, and here over the top comes Baskin. SoaR trying to find some more. They've taken out 1. That's all they're going to get here. As they slink back, start the gold sphere.
Both meditations actually popped at the same time. A misplay coming out from EnVy as most of their players had basically been filled up to full life off the first one. Now SoaR going to be starting up that Gold Fury. They're going to drop it. They want to force the fight. They necessarily don't want to take a chance at losing this out. Baskin trying his own. Omega makes it to the back line. There's the ice. It's all Kiki going to dash in.
25.
Unafraid. It's going to be SoaR to secure the Gold Fury, but Omega wrecking havoc in the back line on Hurriwind. Eagles rally. Finds the first kill. CycloneSpin takes out Homiefe. Baskin now in the middle of 4 players trying to get out. He should be okay for the most part.
He's level 18 on tier. I'm pretty sure he's going to be pretty fine, especially with that Gem Shield on the back. SoaR take out the Gold Fury, and a big part of that is what I was going to talk about.
Oh, no.
What's on
Oh, no. Omega, or excuse me, Metyankey going to defend that tower, but EnVy not trying to take advantage as Baskin.
Right.
He's going to teleport back in, making sure that Met not going to be left alone. Net win for SoaR for sure. Let's take a quick look at the graphs. Now in the lead, 2,700 gold, 1,500 experience. Not the biggest lead, but definitely significant enough to start hitting some item leads.
Yeah, this is a lead that
Nice
Envy can
steal.
look up to for sure. What I was talking about before, though, before that Gold Fury, SoaR, you can really see the influence of Jigz on this team. If you ever look at old TSM or whatnot, outside of Boosh, it's a different story. Lots of vision coming out from them, specifically around the Gold Fury. Jigz coached that old TSM team. You take a look at the vision on the left-hand side of the map, a lot of vision, particularly the Sentry Wards, which is more attractive in Season 3, so we're seeing so many of them. And I feel like this is just a tenement to when Jigz is on a team, you always just see so many wards everywhere.
Yeah, 18
from minute one.
I mean, 18 minutes in, 9 wards placed from Jigz on this game. Really effective, and his build also going, his now very known, actually blinking,
Wow.
find a Cataclysm, immediately beadsed by both carries on Envy. The reaction times from both teams have been phenomenal. Baskin's going to rotate under the team fight, but it's called out by Omega. Keek's able to dash, but a double blink, and now MLC Stealth left all alone. There's the Sanctuary. Sun raining down on top. Stealth will get to the sky and gets a heal from Meditation. SoaR continuously trying to force these engagements. Oh, Mask finds a big double tap. He's looking for Hurriwind.
He's going to land down. He's going to find 2 to stun and 3 to hit with Zerkers. Damage coming out from Isis Ultimate will keep Envy at a safe distance. So SoaR's retreat was stopped for a moment and stopped for a second moment, but ultimately will be fine.
No relics up on the side of SoaR outside of Metyankey. If stuns can happen, Envy, they can run away with this fight, and they have the taunt and they have the petrify up. This could be a big win for them if they can find the combination. SoaR won't be able to counter it, but Envy just going to take a single tower. Cyclone actually able to get the tower, both towers on the left-hand side during that entire engagement. So phenomenal objective control, and Envy able to hold out onto SoaR's onslaught and allow Cyclone that split push.
Very smart play coming out from CycloneSpin there. Basically tying the game, or actually definitely tying the game.
I don't know, man. There's that 300 gold lead. That's like a ward and like a potion, man. Pretty sure that's like the entire. Yeah, so like soul laners actually spend more gold than that when they first go to lane if they like 8 pot. They do. It's 400 gold. They actually spend more gold than this lead.
EnVyUs now tied with SoaR after a great decision from the Hunter to go ahead and basically just take out the entirety of the left wing. Meanwhile, SoaR going to group up in the mid lane.
Ooh, look at Homiefe. So we did notice that he did go into Blink, but actually going straight from Jotun's into Chin's side. So Homiefe, not trying to be this frontline bruiser just yet, doesn't actually want to be a frontline bruiser at all. Really looking to pull someone out of position and blow them up. And with this Chin size, I mean, the percentage health damage, he's going to be able to even pull a frontliner and not be too worried, right? If he pulls Omega or Kiki, he can blow them up. And I think that's what we're going to see. We actually saw so many times early game, so we're actually focusing on pulling Kiki out of position with Awilix ult, with Gravity Surge. And I think they're going to continue that story just based on this build that Homiefe is going. He wants to pull Kiki and then just kill him.
And I prefer Awilix when she is pure assassin. Right now, Jigz looking for his assassin as he blinks on in, gets a couple of stuns. Mask in trouble. Mask is dead. Metyankey, credit for that. Continuing the fight, SoaR. They drop a couple of ultimates, but now it's just 5-on-3 under the mid tower.
Masked, completely body blocked there by minions. Really unfortunate for him. You could see these meditations have been very effective coming out from Envy. The double meds, obviously only one got off that fight. Omega not in position to keep Masked alive for any longer here. Baskin going to try and steal away the blue, but will be a hair too late. And only 4 to 6 in kills. Not even a lot of action, but kind of a lot of presence shown from both teams. A lot of initiations, and if they can't find the picks, it's immediately a reset fight. Gold Theory going to be spawning here. SoaR, the team trying to force it the first couple times, and it looks like they'll be the ones for the third as well.
Basic coming out from Jigz to pull the big golds here. It's pinged out. So Envy, well aware that the objective is coming their way. 50% on Gold Fury already. EnVyUs make their grouping. Trying to wait for the moment. Stun is going to wall off tier. Here comes the damage. SoaR drops the Isis ultimate, and they confirm it for themselves. That's a 2,000 gold lead. Now the fight continues. Omega looking for more and jumping over to the side. No one expected that stun, and Cyclone capitalizes off of it. Takes out the assassin, Homiefe. Continuing down in the jungle, Hurriwind gets a good Geb shield, and that's enough to make Envy continue chasing the kill.
Dead.
Hurriwind.
4 players there surrounding Hurriwind, nowhere to go. Jigz very low, has to back off. Now the question is Envy going to take this tier 2 tower? And with the new wall minions, not scared at all. They will lose the gold theory, but they find 2 players and a tower. You can see SoaR looking at just the fight, though, able to have a 1,200 gold lead compared to Envy off of that one.
But so you take a look at the team fight recap, and SoaR wind up taking the gold fury, and that gives them 1750. Envy gets 2 kills, but only 500 gold. That seems lopsided until you realize that Envy continued on into the mid lane, picked up 1,500 from the mid-tier from the tier 2 tower up in mid. All of a sudden, they got 2,000 gold, with including the stuff after the stuff for that team fight. Couple that with another one, that was a huge swing for Envy. They now have a very slight lead.
800 in the lead is Envy. Fire Giant actually started by SoaR, but Envy hadn't backed yet, and they're gonna smell this one out. Almost
well played.
That I really like that decision from SoaR, recognizing that they had the vision control on Fire Giant. After Envy took that tier 1, they were guaranteed to go back and spin their gold. Actually, take a look at gold in hand real quick. Omega, actually not that much. If Omega had a little bit more gold, he would have taken the trip back to base. Envy would have been caught with their pants down.
Exactly.
But just kind of luck there for Envy.
Well, that's the key that I like. Either way, SoaR wind up making the right decision there, because either Envy is backed at base and they can't respond, or they're low HP because they didn't back yet.
I think a lot of that, too. You can actually take a look on the minimap, upper right-hand corner, where Tier is walking over right now, where Baskin's walking over, a Sentry Ward. So very likely that Envy had saw most of the members also take the trip down to the Fire Giant and could have just checked to make sure.
Where else are you going with 5 people on the right side of the map?
Still 6-6 in kills, but honestly, when fights have just broken out and been forced, it's really been SoaR winning them. 4 of Envy's kills were after SoaR had tanked the Gold Fury and stolen 2. Kiki continues to be the target that they're looking for, and they're finally going to find the kill. Metyankey going to find that one, and what a stealth.
Knock up on stealth, and a lot of damage coming his way. He'll take to the sky and save himself for a couple of seconds. Mask takes to the sky as well, but he's looking to be aggressive. He's going to land right on down to Baskin, but it's a hair too late as Homiefe takes out CycloneSpin. There's 2 members of Envy left. Mask coming out to the right-hand side, and the other stuck between everyone on SoaR.
Game was dead even, and SoaR now, that's the thing, right? Envy, the game was in their favor, but the problem is that they had all these towers down, in SoaR. They really hadn't even controlled any objective in that regard, and now that they're starting to knock these tower downs, now they're winning not only in the kills, but also in the gold, and now this Phoenix is going to be successfully taken by SoaR. Honestly, Envy had the lead there, but SoaR has had the momentum all game.
I saw, honestly, I want to point out an issue that I have with that last engagement. Omega sitting on the Phoenix, tanking the entirety of SoaR Gaming underneath the Phoenix, doing relatively well. Kiki channels the ultimate onto Mask, who retreats with a full life bar. I would have loved to see that Thor get aggressive. Kiki slams down. There's a lot of damage from Defender of Olympus. They might have been able to get a pick there, Kevin.
It's possible. Right-hand side, though, Envy just going to try and farm up SoaR now. 2,000 gold in the lead. You can see Mask going to take a trip back to the base. Starting to build into the Brawler's beat stick, just wants the damage, also going to reduce the healing of anyone hit by his abilities. So the Ice Assault going to be slightly less effective if Mask is able to get a Berserker's Barrage off.
I want to preface what I'm about to say with, you know what, whatever. CycloneSpin hasn't really been here this game. He's got a positive KDA, and no, I am not trying to compare his performance today to a pentakill overperforming situation. Metyankey has been the hunter that we're talking about. And coming into this matchup, I looked at EnVyUs and I said, hey, look, they've got a new jungler. That might pose some problems for them. But they didn't win their last match off of jungle help. They won it from CycloneSpin and Omega. And we're not seeing CycloneSpin today.
The biggest problem for Envy and CycloneSpin is the fact that SoaR have actually been winning all the fights. Envy have 6 kills. 4 of those were catching 2 players on 2 different occasions after a Gold Fury. And SoaR honestly came out on top of those scenarios anyway, because they got the Gold Fury. And right, maybe the second time you can debate because a tier 2 tower was taken.
Sure.
But now, I mean, Envy, they don't have any towers to take to try and come back into this. Once SoaR start knocking on the door, and you can see that they're already taking a trip to the left-hand side, it's going to be almost more than likely an uncontested Gold Fury. Kiki going to try and get in there, but Ward Vision in full control of SoaR.
Half HP on the Gold Fury. Envy are well aware that this is going on. 25% already onto the gold. Jigz gets in. 4-man stun off of the Kata. He's all by himself, though the rest of the team is looking at Omega in the backside. Isis ultimate dropped down, so the Hou Yi. And there's going to be Omega dropping his ult as well. MLC takes to the sky. He'll be safe for the moment. He's in the back.
Mask actually looking to try and pick off Jigz, but Jigz will read it, juke it out, take a trip. And look at this Hurriwind as well. Fearless. Mask recognizes that he can't fight that. He's going to back off. Kiki looking for a taunt, but a nice silence. Teleport in from Omega, and it's going to be a wash for both teams. No players found dead.
CycloneSpin playing aggressive. He is the kill leader on this team. So, although I do say that, you know, I haven't seen what we saw last week, even accepting the pentakill out of Cyclone. I think that's a problem for Envy. He is arguably the best performer on the squad right now with 4 kills.
Cyclone in a lot of trouble. Baskin gonna be pushed off of him. Gold Theory started up once again by SoaR. The biggest problem right now, Cyclone does not have chins. Can't deal with these frontliners. Doesn't have the damage output of Metyankey. Gold Theory, it's on 30%. Kiki hiding in the fog. That's enough to scare away off SoaR. Kiki still invisible, but now he's going to be seen by Hurriwind. Hurriwind sticking around, making sure that Envy can't do the Gold Fury by themselves, but Omega, he's going to pull it right on top of a sentry.
No real attempt there from Envy to take the Gold Fury, just a little bit of cheekiness. As SoaR, on the other hand, this looks like a much different situation. SoaR want it. They've got 4 players on this objective. Kiki on the Athena.
Conceding.
Yeah, not the most adept. Not quite a Bacchus when it comes to stealing these objectives. So SoaR get the Gold Fury absolutely for free, and that'll catapult them into the lead. What was formerly 1,800, a decent enough lead, becomes 3,500, a very tangible lead for SoaR to find something to do with.
I like that decision from Envy to back off. The problem there was that mid lane Phoenix was still down. Fireman starting to pour, and the Phoenix is about to spawn, which forced Stealth to stick to the mid lane. He had to focus on those Firemen, otherwise they were going to lose their Phoenix again. And then Envy, if they decided to try and counter the Gold Tier, that's a 4v5 that SoaR know about, because they see Stealth in the mid lane fighting the minions. Smart decision by them. They are going to get a little bit further behind, but it's really not that big of a lead at 29 minutes. Mask, though, forced to Purification, takes to the sky, trying to get up in time. He does manage. Teleport's still online. Actually, no, it's down on cooldown. And SoaR, they're gonna force this. They know Mask can't come back into this fight until he takes a trip back to the fountain.
And this is what SoaR has been doing the entire game, forcing the objective fights when they know their enemy is at disadvantage. You mentioned the situation with Gold Fury with MLC in the mid lane. That was calculated by SoaR. They went for that Gold Fury intentionally. And now with Mask out of the picture, they're going to push this Fire Giant as well. Damage onto Omega coming from the Hunter Metyankey. Not enough to find the kill. And the stun's not going to find a home either. So Mask, again, off the mark.
Jigz, blink online. And it's going to be Kiki once again pulled in an awkward spot. Omega trying to peel the backline, dealing with Homiefe. Jigz stunned out, still in combat. He can't find a blink. Homiefe, though, big damage onto Omega, who falls. Hurriwind locks down Kiki. And now SoaR 5 strong turn their attention to the Fire Giant.
Jigz, 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 Jigz. 11 kills in total, 10 assists on the Geb. He's been in every kill except for one. Jigz has been completely on point this game. Absolutely love what I'm seeing out of him, man.
5 players of SoaR going to have the Fire Giant buff around their waist. A tier 2 tower on the right-hand side, 2 towers left over in the left-hand side, but it doesn't matter. The entire team looking to take down this weakened Phoenix is at 50% life, and Omega's not spawning for 20, Kiki not for 8. If Envy want to fight this, they're going to be fighting at 2 members down.
All of them grouped. This one, Envy will likely just concede, and
Mask should be fine here. Going to take a lot of poke, though, into his own Phoenix, and SoaR will successfully retake the middle Phoenix and just head back to base. Can we take a look at gold in hand for these players? 2,500 for Homiefe. The question for me is, are SoaR going to look to take down these towers or back and spin their gold so far? And it looks like they're going to be spinning the gold in hand right now. Homiefe going to be finishing off stone cutting sword, or excuse me, blade. Real powerhouse.
So at this moment, the reason that SoaR is backing is because they can back and come. You can head to base, pick up your items, and when you re-aggress next time, you still have that Fire Giant. So by choosing to go back a little bit early, despite wasting some time on that Fire Giant, their next aggression will be even stronger because they do have the benefit of added items. And I mean, you want to talk about items, Everybody full build here, 1/2 hour into the matchup.
You can see SoaR fully grouped up here outside of Baskin on the right-hand side. Teleport is available for him, so he'll be in the fight anytime he wants to. And now look at this. Oh, I almost thought SoaR was actually going to try and hide in the jungle there, but they're just waiting for that red buff to respawn. They want to steal it away. Tier 1 tower down. Mask and the rest of Envy cannot fight this over on the left-hand side. They're going to concede, and they're going to take their stance on the Phoenix.
Left tower goes down. Right tower being contested by our 2 solo laners. Omega looks like he's succeeding over here in defending his tier 2.
And honestly, keeping Baskin busy is pretty big. Baskin right now, full build, has been a menace to EnVyUs' backline. Omega is starting to walk over. Metyankey, I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but he was at the edge of Phoenix while the rest of SoaR were way further back and forced to pop his purification. Baskin left alone as the rotation, and that's probably what it was. SoaR electing to back as Omega rotates over, and an uncontested tier 2. Now all towers down for Envy.
SoaR going to make their way back to the mid despite the Phoenix being down.
Stealth.
Means they're just going for the kill. Stealth immediately chased into the sky, so that ultimate off the table for now.
Forced to purification as well. SoaR has done just such a phenomenal job of baiting these relics, resetting the fights, and then picking off the players with nothing to go for them.
There was no intention of SoaR going super deep for that kill. That was Jigz scaring the mid laner
I'm
into
scared of
using the
Jigz too at this
purification.
point. Almost full build. The tier 1 boots, that's what scares me, man. It's like, man, he doesn't even have boots done.
That's the Jigz. That's the quintessential Jigz build. Now, just to break this down, if you guys haven't really spoken to Jigz, the gold spent to bring boots from tier 1 to tier 3, he views as too much gold for what little you
Phoenix
gain.
sprint popped, blink in, and it's going to be CycloneSpin circled around. Purification popped, Mask taken to the sky, looking for the back line. He is going to land, but it's right into a circle protection. Shell popped for SoaR. They're going to successfully reset for now. Fire Giant ticking on top of them. And actually, it looks like Envy, they're going to be chasing out SoaR. Jigz in a little bit of trouble. Kiki finding a 2-man taunt. Double tap from Mask.
The damage is strong onto SoaR. They're all half or lesser. The exception, of course, being Awilix, and she will, well, looked like she was going to lead a charge. Baskin's going to try and bait Envy, but no success.
Hey, Envy still successfully hold their left side Phoenix. SoaR burning a lot to start that fight. You can see not a single player with a relic up outside of the teleport from Baskin. Envy managed to hold 2 sanctuaries, 2 teleports, a set of purification, and meditation, which means this is not a team that SoaR is going to be able to die very easily at this point. Envy can still hold out, and the team almost finishing their builds, even though they're down at about 10,000 gold. I mean, most of their players don't need items at this point.
Exactly, and that gold lead is going to become irrelevant. But that situation for Envy, that was flawless. That's exactly what you want. Your opponent has more. Your opponent has a 10,000 gold lead and a Fire Giant buff, and you prevent them from killing your Phoenix. That's exactly what you want. Envy really shows up and shows that they're able to play that defense.
Blue buff not going to be allowed to take is Envy. Said that awkwardly. I don't know what I was going for there.
Got me.
SoaR successfully going to steal away this blue buff. Not too relevant in the mana regen right now, but still 10% CDR. Important for a lot of characters. Fire Giant has respawned, and Envy, they're going to be on the outside of it as SoaR. They are grouped up inside. No one playing zone right now, and Kiki actually charging his dash. He could get inside this.
Ults are all down. Kiki's going to taunt, but the damage already done to the objective. Fire Giant goes to SoaR one more time, despite them not having the advantage that they had the last time. This was pretty much the first objective that SoaR have gone to without some sort of proof that their enemy can't contest.
Oh, yeah, no retaliation, though. SoaR now 5 members strong. They actually did not back, just kind of reset into their own tower. And now it's going to be a 5v5. I mean, 11-6 in kills, but Envy have proven that they can fight into SoaR, who have an advantage, but it's going to be Basket surprising Kiki. Kiki caught on the wrong side of his own teammate's wall, surrounded by 5. Met finds the last hit. 5-1 and 4 for the Hunter.
MLC Stealth being chased by Homiefe. Blinks forward, gets the knockup.
I thought he was going to get caught on the wrong side of the wall. Masked. Honestly, his walls have been a detriment to his team in the past couple minutes.
That one, however, turned up very well.
Barely.
Mid Phoenix gets
Barely.
taken out as it's, well, half health, half HP.
Petrify.
SoaR looking towards the left side as well. Omega's here to play defense all by himself. This time around, Mask joins the party, lands on everyone. Metyankey still takes out the jungler.
Spirit Ball and Baskin to the back line. Stealth managing to find one. It does not matter, though, as Baskin takes out Omega. 1 player dead for SoaR, 3 dead for Envy. CycloneSpin real low. Ricochet going to be just off the mark, but SoaR, they're going to be able to take this Phoenix on the left-hand side. Only 1 remain, 4 players strong.
I feel, all right, it's hard to, like, it's nigh impossible to read player, I don't want to call it body language, but character language, just how people position themselves. There was no, there was no scared. Nobody on SoaR was scared.
No.
For a moment on that left side.
This team coming in here is not scared of a team, anyone, and that's sometimes what you see coming out from these new squads, especially facing into such a notable name as Envy. But going through relegation, no nerves on the side of SoaR. 1 Phoenix stands, 4 members strong. Masked spawning in about 7 seconds. SoaR, if they're going to make their move for this Phoenix, they have to make it now. Their circle protection dropped. Kiki actually in the middle of it, too.
He's going to take he's not going to take a chunk. He barely avoids the damage. There's
this is bad for SoaR.
Metyankey jumping forward. KikiSoCheeky going to get hit with a combo.
Hurriwind
Baskin takes him out. Hurriwind's very low. So low that he's dead. MLC on top of that one. Chase being given down the right-hand side. Cyclone, 1 ultimate. Metyankey in trouble. Baskin puts himself forward. He'll play bodyguard, and the SoaR Hunter is safe.
That was definitely worth talking about SoaR. They do lose Hurriwind, taking a little bit too long, and basically allowing Mask to respawn and find an ultimate, locking him down.
Hurriwind, who doesn't have a Doom Orb.
But they get the last Phoenix, and that's what's important. Now, all 3 Phoenixes down. This is a death sentence in Smite. Very few teams have ever come back from this. The only one most notable, Aquila back at the Season 1 Regionals. Actually, their Titan was at 1%. Obviously went on to become the Titan that got 2nd place at Worlds, but it is few and far between that these comebacks have been made possible. And SoaR, not a single one of their Phoenix has even been looked at 40 minutes in.
Envy have been playing a decent game, and like I said, I mean, CycloneSpin is doing the best on his team, arguably. He's 4-2-4. He's got a plethora of player damage, and more importantly, since the last time we spoke about him, he's brought that player damage up. That's what's helping Envy take these defensive sets. Omega obviously is a big part of these defensive sets by putting himself in the forward position.
So one of the biggest things for me is that SoaR has always been the initiators of these fights, and most notably is kind of the spacing. What you'll notice is Jigz is definitely the front line. Actually, Omega going to be pulled forward. He's going to Eagles Rally in place. Athena ult on top, but there come the Sun. Stunned inside the mask, going to land down, but Baskin Robbins looking for Omega. Can't find it, but fire minions are here. Kiki once again picked off. No, actually stays alive. And now CycloneSpin with a big Petrify on top of 4. Successfully, the team holds off SoaR as MLC Stealth locks down Met.
Popped up with the ult. No stragglers, says Nuwa. Well, I was right. Envy, like I said, this is what happens when CycloneSpin steps it up. He wasn't bringing the damage earlier on, and his team was having problems.
I mean, for me, it's not even CycloneSpin. It's the fact that SoaR, they started that fight, obviously pulling Omega into the middle of their team. Eagles Rally dropped a huge protection aura for anyone also inside there. But the problem is, SoaR, they got a lot of players low, but every single one of them escaped, right? Masked escapes, is dealing with Baskin Robbins. Omega escaped on 1 health. And then KikiSoCheeky escapes on 1 health. And then SoaR had invested all of their cooldowns, all of their ultimates into trying to lock down these players. And then Cyclone comes in as the rest of the team is trying to finish off Athena. Big Petrify, gets them low enough for the skill shot from Nuwa, Fire Shards. Finds the last hit.
Right now, 41 minutes into this one, SoaR has been really running the show, 15-9, and as you can see, 10,000 gold in their favor. However, these past couple of engagements, Envy has really, really turned it around. And as we mentioned before, the gold largely irrelevant at this point. So
until we see 3 K-Pots, that's when it'll... and that usually doesn't happen until about 45 minutes. Can we actually see gold in hand real quick? So 2,400 for Matt. He's the only one close.
Free fire. No one's here. No one sees it.
This is fine for Envy. They don't care. Like, this late into the game, right? It's better to concede fire and fight 5 versus 5 on your own Phoenix
than
than risk trying to defend it and getting put into an awkward position where SoaR have the advantage in the fight guaranteed, and you risk getting your front line picked off, because that's been the problem for Envy, is that Kiki has been repeatedly the first one to die. And it's not necessarily his fault. It's Jigz making these phenomenal plays where he blinks forward and knocks him up, allowing Awilix to pull Kiki out of position. And I like that decision coming out from SoaR to try and pick off that support.
Because, I mean, you mentioned how devastating the Athena Medusa combo was earlier on. It's really taking out Athena early, takes a lot of potential off the board for Envy.
Envy, for the first time, going to be looking to force the fight. Hurriwind going to get a Geb shield, but very early in this engagement, and Mass is going to come landing down. There's Cataclysm to keep the team at bay, and now Envy. Now Envy are actually losing the fight that they forced.
Envy retreat, and SoaR show no signs of stopping. SoaR take out one player. It's going to be Omega. He'll sit down for over a minute. 42 minutes in. These timers are long. Right-hand Phoenix is already dead, so has already died, so it'll be quite very easy to kill.
You can see this Phoenix. It's on half-life. Knock-up coming. And SoaR, they're just going to take the Phoenix. Still 2 of them on low health. Actually, Mask blinks forward and then quickly blinks away as SoaR not conceding this. The HP regen on this Fire Giant a little bit too much, as long as SoaR can wait a couple seconds. And now Hurriwind once again receives a Geb shield as Kiki tries to taunt him out. And SoaR, they're going to be playing the smart, intelligent card here. With Omega down, they could look to force it, but they'd rather just get the uncontested Phoenix blink in by Jigz. CycloneSpin, nice use of purification. And Awilix, the boulder, not enough to finish him off.
Baskin from the backside pushes Mask into the fight. KikiSoCheeky about 25% HP. He's going to get away. The Phoenix, on the other hand, won't. All 3 Phoenixes are down. SoaR stepping into the base, and they are killing the dudes. Titan falls down. Envy falls to SoaR. Game 1.
Very calculated game from SoaR. Really like their play, their decision-making. Everything seemed to have a reasoning, even their build. I really like the chin size specifically on the Homiefe. You could really tell that the idea was, let's just find Kiki. He's not going Purification. I believe he went Shell as well as Meditation. We'll pull him out of position, and now with this Kins onto the Awilix, we can just burst him down because we have that percentage HP. We don't have to worry about him being tanky. And they really abuse that. Most of the fights started with Kiki getting pulled into the back line. Early on, not successful, but later on, completely successful.
And I like the turnaround. A lot of times teams will draft Thor, a Fenrir, something like that to put a frontliner in the jungle, and then your mage is just as dominant. I'm going to kill you from 100 to 0. Well, the Isis brings so much more to the table than just flat damage. So we saw Hurriwind go Breastplate of Valor very early, get that max CDR. Every time SoaR decided to fight, there was a circle of protection down. So a little bit of a switch around there coming from the half support side that you usually see in the jungle. Half support went the way of mid and allowed the Awilix to just go all out.
Let's take a look at some of the clips from Metyankey. Phenomenal performance from him in his first SPL debut. 7-2-6 as a hunter, or excuse me, not first SPL debut. He did play a support last year, although to little to no success on the Elevate, only finding a couple wins over 28 games, but starting off real strong. And CycloneSpin, not that, you know, he kind of got outclassed, it's just Metyankey seemingly to make all the right decisions this game.
And again, you know, CycloneSpin did step up a little bit later on, which I thought was a very important part of Envy.
I mean, when the team he was kind of behind early, a lot of early Gold Furies over to SoaR, so once he could get full build, obviously any hunter going to be very effective. One big Petrify from him, but outside of that, most of SoaR really not lining up for it. Kiki, like I said, because he was repeatedly getting picked off, they couldn't force the engagements. We saw one forced engagement from Envy at the end of the game, and that was obviously the last engagement we saw.
SoaR played a very intelligent game. I like what you mentioned before, Kevin, how every single thing SoaR did seemed to really have a reason behind it. And I think that's going to be the identity of this team carrying forward. I think you're going to see a lot of intelligent plays, a lot of thought process, and a lot of things that always come from somewhere. Game 2, following up. Stay tuned.